blocks. Was it ufuna ama cell phone? That is correct. Yes.
And what were the exact words that were uttered by that person, the first suspect with the firearm?
Lo mlisake okanye lo msola wokuqala wakhuluma wathini lawo mazwi awasebenzisa makakhuluma lo bephethe isibhamu wakhuluma wathini
akakhulumanga intini ngafuna amafoni nemali nje.
He didn't say much. He only demanded the cell phones and money. That's it.
Yeah, but understand, what I'm asking you is the exact words that he said, if you recall.
Yabona ke engithanda ukuzwa kuwe ukuthi wasebenzisa amaphi amazwi. Futhi makakhuluma wathini ilokho engikufunayo kuwe.
Noma ngeke ngiwasho exactly amagama awasho nje benjalo but engakhumbulayo ukuthi wafuna amafoni nemali.
In what language did he demand cell phones and money?
Wayesebenzisa lokho lwimi njengoba efuna ama cell phones nemali.
Wayesebenzisa ulimi lwesiZulu.
IsiZulu.
And what was his demeanor when he made that demand for cell phones and money?
Ubebuke kanjani ke makenza ke lezo epota ke futhi lezo zinto.
Understand umuze buya kanjani mhlambe kanjani
mawubheka nje ube njani ubona ini kuyena beyiphethe kanjani ngoba efuna cellphone nemali ama cellphone nemali
sima ngikusona ngangenako ukuthi ngimbheke umuntu ezifu ngibukele movie relaxing because uqala novalo phakathi now thuka yonke leyo nto so angeke ngibuke exactly emehlweni noma isikhathi eside.
My observation would not be an observation of a person that would be, relaxed as though they are watching a movie. Remember, I also was shocked or was frightened. So my reaction to that type of a scene wouldn't have been a quite relaxed observation.
Now, did you see a firearm that night?
Was born was born.
The boy's pet.
Yes, he was in possession of that firearm.
And how did that suspect with the firearm hold that firearm as he came in towards the hallway in the house?
Makangena ke endlini ephethe isibhamu kanjalo obesiphethe kanjani ngakwazi ukusibonisa.
Wayesiphethe ngesandla saka right.
He had the firearm, or he held the firearm with his right hand.
Yes, but what I want to know, was it pointed at the people in the house with his hand outstretched in front, or was it holding it down as he entered the house?
Yeah, wayesiphethe kanje but not ukuthi like ukhumba umuntu oyedwa. Wayesiphethe ngesandla nje kanje.
It was really It was wielded in that fashion, in other words, in a pointing form, even though he wasn't pointing at any person in particular, but it was in a pointing form. And I was able to see the barrel of that firearm. As I was positioned like that, when I looked at the firearm, I could then have access to the barrel of the firearm as it was wielded in that fashion.
Now, taking from what you say that it wasn't pointed at a specific person, because remember, according to the photos that we've seen, there were two couches with three people on this side, and KB on the other side towards the passage. Did he move it around to show his dominance of the people in the house, or was it just in a fixed position but not particularly?
Three behleli ngapha, three behleli ngapha, ukheli ubehleli ukuya khona lapha nepassage. Mhlambe ke ubeloko esikhomba kanjalo esihambisa ukubonisa ke ukuthi usebenzisa ke igunya lakhe phezulu wonke umuntu obekhona ngalapho. Ukanye ukuba namandla phezulu wonke umuntu obekhona ngalapha endlini. Wayeloko esihambisa kanjalo leso sibhamu noma kanjani.
Ukwenza kwalento akwenzekanga isikhathi eside. So wonke kube nalento ukuthi ucheck yini ukuthi wenzani because ngiyabe sengisho ukuthi bakunovalo phakathi.
Now this incident actually happened at the shortest time I can remember. One would not necessarily be having an opportunity to can observe what this person was doing in detail. Remember, I've already indicated that I personally was under shock as well, and that it could have been that I also took out my cell phone from within the pocket at that time.
Now, during that stage, did the gunman cock or wreck the firearm?
Ngaleso sikhathi wasibreach isibhamu lo muntu ophethe isibhamu ngaleso sikhathi.
Hayi cha wafika nje sesikhomba nje azangas.
No, he didn't cock the firearm. He just barged in there with the firearm wielded out.
Now, just to go back on something that you just mentioned before about the firearm, which position or from which perspective did you see the firearm, the front or the side of the firearm?
Otege ubone ipingxenye isibhamu. The barrel, the front side of the barrel of the firearm.
So you were literally staring down the barrel of a gun. What color was the firearm, if you recall?
Umbala obunjani leso sibhamu uma ngabe uyakhumbula.
Ngathi nje simnyamanyana ukugile ukrusty ukugile nje.
It was blackish, worn out, kind of rusty.
And just by using the dimensions with your hands, can you tell the length of that firearm?
Usebenzisa izandla zakho ungakwazi ukuthi mhlambe usigqibele nje umfanekiso ukuthi sasisikhulu kangakanani ubude baso leso sibhamu.
Something sasisingakanyana nje.
That could have been the estimated length of the firearm. I went a foot.
Something sasisingakanyana.
About 14 centimeters. About 14 centimeters. 20.
And then also, could you tell if the firearm had a wheel on the side, something that looked like a wheel or a rotating object on the side?
Ubukwazi ubona mhlambe leso sibhamu sasine into engathi i-wheel okanye isonto nyana nje lapho kuso leso sibhamu. Ngathi iyajikeleza nje.
Ngabona ngathi isona esinesona impela mangisibuka but angisho ngisibukanga isikhathi eside nami.
I looked at it and like I have already said that I didn't take a lot of time to can observe that particular firearm, but it looked to me as though it was a firearm that had a wheel on it.
Now, prior to the events of the 26th of October 2014, had you seen the person that was holding the firearm in the house that night?
And Vanessa Skati, 26 October 2014. Lo mlisa lo muntu bephethe isibhamu ngaleso sikhathi uke wambona phambilini ubuke wambona
ngingambona
shothi ke angisho isigameko senzeke nge-26
yes
phambi kwe-26 ubuke wambona nanoma ikuphi lo mlisa bephethe isibhamu
cha bangaze ngimbone.
I've never seen him before.
And after the incident of the 26th of August 2014, October 2014, I'm sorry, did you see that person again? Have you ever seen him since?
Emva kwesigameko sange-26 October 2014 uphinde wambona futhi?
Cha bangaze ngimbone.
I've never seen him.
Now, would I be correct to say that the people that entered the house that night, the two suspects, were complete strangers to you?
Ngakusho ke ukuthi labantu abangena ngalobo busuku endlini abantu nje ubungabazi inhlobo nje.
Yeah, abantu engababe ngabazi.
Yes, those were unknown people to me.
Now, you testified, and if I understood your testimony correctly, is that you only saw the second suspect because you didn't immediately stand up when the rest of the people stood up to confront the suspects. So you only saw the second suspect later, correct?
ngabe kunjalo ukuthi wena uye wambona emva kwesikhashana ngoba phela ngenkathi wonke umuntu esukume yakubo eyakuye lo umsolo wesibini wena zange ube nabo ngaleso sikhathi wase ke umbona emva kwesikhashana ke ngoba zange usuku nabanye ilokho kusho
indlela aqhamuka ngayo wemala phambi ngomnyango uyena umuntu oqala umbonayo so lo munye wayengakaveli ngaleso sikhathi.
The manner in which he appeared in the scene and he stood by the door there, he was the very first person that one could see. And uthi lo muntu yena wenzani
wayengakaveli ngaleso sikhathi esikhomba sasingakambona. I don't think sakhona sembonile.
At the time that we were pointed with the firearm from this one who was in possession of the firearm, the other one had not appeared as yet on our side.
Okay. When did you see the second suspect for the first time then that night in the house?
Lona ke wesibili wambona nini khona lapha endlini. Ukuthi makwenzakala ini.
Angithi lo uqala mayefika emala esikhomba efuna abafundi imali. Basukuma lo mfana lo mphusha.
Now, isn't it so that the first one that came and pointed us with a firearm and he demanded the cell phones and the money, and there was this young man that stood up and pushed or thrust at him. Now, as he thrust at him, everyone else stood up because he thrust at him and then exited running out of the house. And then there was a stage where everybody then stood up.
Now,
at that stage where Kelly went and ran into the other bedroom that is just on the right, this is when, that was at that stage where I realized that there is now a second person or there is another person.
Okay, Mr. Baloyi asked you yesterday, rather than saying this boy, this guy, mention people by name so that the record is clear as to who
you're talking
about.
Yeah,
okay.
I understand.
So when you say that this guy pushed this one, you are referring to Longwe Twala pushing the first suspect.
Lo guy lo pusha lo ubukhuluma ngolongo Twala pusha lona umso.
Yeah, ngikhuluma ngayo.
Yes, I was referring to Longwe Twala.
Now, this second suspect, what did he do when you saw him, at the time you saw him?
Lona wesibini uma umbona bekenza.
Ngicabanga ukuthi bezama ukuyongena la bedroom lethu elikhushana Senzo bezomncikisa ngasestabhini sekhishi.
I think he wanted to go into the bedroom, and it was at that stage that Senzo struggled together with him or wrestled together with him, and he pushed him and pinned him against the door.
Okay. Zandile Kumalo testified on that aspect in his court to say the second intruder then chased Kelly to the bedroom that is opposite the kitchen, directly opposite the kitchen when he entered the house. Did you see that happening?
Zandile Kumalo ukushilo lokho ukuthi lo wesibini owangena lapha endlini waseke ugijimisa lona uKelly waye gijimela ngakulela kamero elalibhekene nekhishi wena ke uye wakwazi ukuthi ubone lokho.
Yebo ngakubona.
Yes, I witnessed that.
But then I'm confused because you say Senzo then I think went to that person before. Clarify that for me. Senzo and the second intruder, please.
Akuzame-ke ukuyicacisa-ke ngoba manje usukhuluma ngokuthi uSenzo wase-ke uyambamba uyampusha ngapha-ke ugijimisa uKelly lona awuzame ukuyicacisa ukuthi ukuqala.
Angithi uSenzo the time kufika lokuqala elwa nalokuqala bebambe shuvulana lokuqala ne. So ila ngibone khona ke lo kathi balekele engene la uKelly ekamereni eseza ke lo wesibili suthi angazi ukuthi wayiza kanjani nami ngoba uSenzo wayembambe nje isandla lesi. ofisho ikhonto ayiphethe esandleni ngoba memphushela udongeni la ngase ngithi ngizama ukubaleka khona ke nango sempushelela udongeni la ngafika ngashaya khona la.
Isn't it so that there was a time that Senzo was also wrestling with his first one, and as he was busy wrestling with his first one, here is Kelly now running into the bedroom. At that stage, this is when I see the other one now appearing, and then it was Senzo now wrestling together with this one. Moti Senzo was wrestling now he grabbed the second one and wrestled with him and pushed him against the wall.
So that I understand it, it's the confusion. Senzo, let's start it afresh. Senzo initially struggles and pushes and fights with the first suspect.
Ngabe kunjalo ake sithathe singajahi uSenzo okokuqala nakho ulwisana nalowo wokuqala umsolo wokuqala kube njalo.
Yes,
uthi bayabamba lapho yena
wayengekho yedwa kodwa futhi
khona lapho kulowo wokuqala
uZandi. Yes, kwakhona uZandi noma ngazani.
Yes, even though he was not alone there on that first struggle, because Zandi was there and Zandi's mother was also there.
Then ila khona ke abamba lo ngazi mhlambe lo wayeza kuye or something lo mbamba lo suspect lo wesibili. No.
Right there, that is when he grabbed the second suspect. I don't know how did it come about, but he grabbed the second suspect. And then pushed him close to the door, just next to the kitchen door there.
And you mentioned, I think, just now, that the second suspect, you say he had possibly something in his hand.
Usho into enjalo ngazuthi uthe lo wesibili kwakungathi khona into abayiphethe esandleni sakhe.
Yebo ngisho njalo impela.
Yes, indeed so. That is what I said.
Okay. And did you observe what that something was?
Uye wakwazi ukubona yini ukuthi kuyini lokho ebephethe?
No, angibonanga but ngabona uSenzo ngendlela ambambe ngayo lesandla saka right because indlela ambambe ngayo ngesandla soku2.
No, I did not really observe what he was in possession of. I only observed the manner in which Senzo had grabbed him, grabbed his right arm, and he used his two hands to hold on to that right arm of the suspect.
But from your vantage point, did you see the second intruder in possession of any weapon?
When uqhamuka labo ukhona obukwazi ukumbona lona umsolo wesibili ephethe isikhali kuye nanoma esenjani.
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi bengeke ngiphonse amehlo ami kuyona yonke into eyenzakala endlini because nabe bengarelaxile.
Now, as I've already pointed out that I couldn't or I wouldn't be in the position to can observe everything that was happening in the house, because even myself I was in a frightened state.
Okay, just to clarify it, and with respect to Thokozisi Twala's testimony on that aspect, he testified that the second intruder was in possession of a knife. Did you see a knife?
I guess buya ke lokufakazi kukaMthokozisi. uMthokozisi yena ke uthi ubone lo umsolo wesibili okanye lo umngeneleli wesibili ephethe umese kuyena. Uke wawubona lo mese wena?
Kubhala uMthokozisi kusho ukuthi usho into ayibona yena. Mina angizange ngibe nasikhathi sokubona nje ngendlela ngoba ngangithi ngiyonke uSenzo bambe nalo ngangifuna ukuphuma kahle kahle umthetho wami endlini.
Now
ethwele ngamakhona uSenzo wayipresene nalo.
No.
So angizange ngibone.
Now, I did not observe the knife, as I've already indicated that at the time that Senzo was busy wrestling with this man, I also stood there as well and became a part of that. And whatever it is that is contained within Thokozisi's statement, that is what he witnessed himself that has been reduced into writing. But I personally didn't see that.
And The second suspect, I'm not sure whether I've asked you this, but I'll ask it anyway. Did he say something or utter any words as he entered the house or during the incident?
Lo msolo wesibini makangena endlini ngabe kukhona amazwi awakhuluma
Hayi, cha,
ukuthi waphimisela. No, there isn't.
And during the incident, did the first and the second suspect communicate amongst each other?
Khona lapho kuleso sigameko ngabe lona wokuqala nowesibini babelokhu bekhulumisana.
Angibonanga lokho.
I did not observe nor witness that.
Now, yesterday, you lost me with respect to the descriptions of the two suspects that entered the house. Let's discuss first the description of the first intruder, the first suspect, the shot one with a firearm.
Izolo njengathi ukulahleka ngekhathi wena uphana ngomfanekiso walona owokuqala i-intruder yokuqala. Ake siqale ngaye ke lo wokuqala. Uthi ke wena ke uthe umuntu ebebukeka kanjani?
Wayemfishane enama-dread efake isigqoko efake ijacket ungathi caramel.
He was short, having dreadlocks, and he had worn a hat, and also was wearing a jacket, caramelish in color,
Amehlo nje amakhulu.
and he had widened eyes or big eyes.
Okay. And I see when you describe the dreadlocks, you keep on doing this. What are you?
Ngiyabona kusebenzisa nezandla zakho
Saying
ke
about
ukhuluma
that.
ngama-dreadlocks, futhi ke izandla zihambela khona lana entanyeni mawuloku ukhuluma kanjalo. Usho ukuthini ke?
Ama-dread no size.
Yeah, the dreadlocks have got their size.
So awakhe ayingamade ukuthaza made kakhulu. Njengophunda la ngathi ayigcina la.
His were not as long. When you see me, sort of signaling with my hands, I am trying to describe the length of those dreadlocks, that this is how far those dreadlocks would go, or this is up to how far they could reach.
And were you in a position with the first suspect wearing the hat to see whether or not those the dreadlocks were braided dreadlocks? You know what I'm talking about? There are these styles that they do, guys, braid them towards the back or whatever braid they prefer.
Ngoba ke lo mliso befaka isigqoko ubona ama dreadlocks kuye uye wakwazi ukuqaphela yini ukuthi kwakungama dreadlocks athe ukuqhinwa nje. Yabona kukhona nje ama dreadlocks lawo ukuthi umuntu avese nje athi no ithi ngenza istyle inyana waqhine ngabambe ngenzeni ube waqaphela lokho mhlawumbe ukuthi lawo ma dreadlocks apha.
Ukuvela wawo ayivela la. Because angithi ufake isigqoko so ayivela la ayingaveli ngangamboni ngangemuva nabo ayivela nje la.
Now, the visibility of those dreadlocks was starting from the temporal area going down. Look on the top of the head or the crown of the head. I couldn't see because remember that he was wearing a hat, so I couldn't see on top of the head as to how those dreadlocks look like.
Let's go on to the second suspect. By what identifying features did you notice him?
Ake size ke kumsolo wesibili. Impawu ozewayibona kuyena ezikwaziyo ukuthi ziphane ngomfanekiso omayelana naye kwaba eziphi impawu?
Lo wesibili ngiyangasho futhi nasekuqaleni ukuthi sometimes noma ungangaba able ukuthi umuntu umuntu kodwa umuntu okwambona before uyamazi.
Now, regarding the second person, even though one could fail to draw or to finish with the features that would be drawn about that particular person, but I said that if a person happened to have been a person that you saw or encountered, you will always recognize that person.
Mr. Madala, I'm not gonna fight with you. I'm a very fair lawyer. If you don't understand the question, ask me to repeat it
Angeke ke ngize ngilwe nawe.
and answer a direct question directly, please.
Ngummeli nje oyilungele. Manje uma ke wena awukwazi ukuphendula umbuzo ke cela ukuthi ke uphinde futhi lo mbuzo okanye ucacisele.
Hayi vele
Understood.
azizile ukuzola. So le ngesibazi ukulwa ngiunderstand.
I agree.
Azizile ukuzola.
We
I
are on the same
agree,
page.
yes. We are not here to fight. Yes, I agree.
Now let's try that question again.
Yes.
By what identifying features did you notice the second suspect?
Ake size lapho ke. Eziphi impawu ukwazile ukukhuluma ngalowo kuqala ngisho
Yes.
eziphi impawu ke masiza kulo wesibili okwazile ukuthi uyibone ukuthi cha yabona lezi ke yizona ezingisiza ukuthi ngisho ukuthi uyelo bekuyini
Ukuqala nje njengoba ngisho ukuthi uqala kwami ungena la ngambona. If wakwabona umuntu before umqondo wakho mathi usumlibele but mangombona futhi uba nalokuthi ngiyangimazi lapho lo muntu lo.
Now, the first thing that I have indicated was that as I walked into the courtroom, I was then able to see him, and I said to myself, this person I once met before, and the question could be that, where did I meet with this particular person? That's number one.
Okwesibili ngimkhumbula nangentshebe yakhe ayenzile ngaleso sikhathi. Lase ngisho umqondo wami ngiyamkhumbula nje intshebe yakhe ayenzile because ubeshiye lokho kula kuthuswana eshila eshiye kugundile nje ikhathi iround umlomo. So eshiye lokho kula nake kukhathile nje kahle.
I also remember him based on the beard, how his beard was actually trimmed. It was trimmed such that it has formed an O around his, his mouth, upper lip as well as the chin, so covering that area. That I saw, and as well as a bit of the hair here, just under the lower lip.
Nanokuthi wayemudeke futhi.
And further, that he was tall in physique.
Now, let's talk about the beard here beneath the lower lip. How pronounced or visible was that? How thick was that beard here?
Yabona le ntshetsana eyayila ngaphansi kwalolu udebe ngaphansi. Beyinjani? Inwele lezi zakhona bezinjani? Beyibonakala kangakanani?
Lintshebe lapha la ayijwayele kuba inkulu vele. Even noma ikhulu ayijwayele kuba inkulu. Ayikazi ibe inkulu. Eziningi kwazi ukuchaza usize wakho kodwa ayibi inkulu.
Now, generally, that beard at that particular spot does not grow to be very bushy. I may not necessarily give a clearer description pertaining it, but it doesn't. It doesn't grow to be very, very thick and bushy, that one.
Now, accused number 2 instructs me that he's never had this beard here. In fact, it doesn't grow on him, and he's never had an O-shaped beard, like you say, the second suspect had. And furthermore, that he's always kept the goatee, the one that you see here in court, from as long as he can remember.
But akakaze abe nonwele oluvela khona la ngaphansi kwalolu debe olungaphansi. Kwalende olungaphansi. Futhi ke akakaze ke enze leso style se njengoba wena usho weza amadevu kanjalo. Kanti ke ube loko ebukeka ngalendlela ebukeka ngakhona. I should also indicate that the witness find it amusing right now before he can even answer.
Angimazi uqondeni ngalokho kusho ukuthi mina ngiyagula ekhanda lapho.
I don't know what is he intending with that. It means that I am insane in my mind.
Kuloko akushoyo angimazi ukuthathela vele ngiqala umphiko kuloko akushoyo angimazi ukuthathela ezifo wena Mr. Ramsibele umele yena la.
As far
Kufanele
as
aphike lokho.
now, the hand of the accused number 2 is on my
Let me
back.
approach. I mean, that my lord, he's saying if the court is willing, you can come and have a look at him.
Which court?
If the court
Which
is,
one?
sorry, my lord,
Which court?
this one, my lord.
Honest.
No, sorry, the witness, my lord, not the court. Sorry, if the witness can be allowed by the court to go and have a look at him that he's never had that beard that he testifies about.
He is inviting the witness to go to him.
Yes,
angisoze ngasondela eduze kwakhe ngisho
I will
sethanda
never- I will
Yabona nje
never
lapho
go close.
seyisitha nami soze
I will never come close to him. As he's seated there, he's actually my enemy. I will never, even if he may want for me to come close to him, I won't go to him.
kunento ekufanele bayazi nabafowethu mina nginandaba nabo angibasami futhi yabo manje basabisa vele bengibuka lapho ngathi
that's
khona
fine,
into
that's
abazoyenza
fine,
hayi
Mr. Mandela.
hawu
There's this one thing, may I interpret this? There's this one thing that all these gentlemen here who are seated there should know about me. I don't care about them. I don't care, and I'm not even afraid of them. They're seated there looking at me like that. I don't care about them.
No, that's fine. What he was just saying is that as much as you are adamant that he had this beard, he's also adamant that he has never had it. That's the point.
Uyabona ke njengoba nawe udizelela ukuthi ube nentshatshana la. Uyasho ke naye ube ngenayo.
hayi akushoyo ngingani kuzomela kuprove but mina ngiyakusho lokukhona ngiyakwazi futhi ngakubona
Now, whatever that he says, he's got the right to can prove it. However, on my side, I know what is it that I witnessed. I know what I saw. And it is there.
Now, I put it to you that the description by which you identified accused number 2 is vague and general, and it meets all sort of thousands and thousands of men out there.
Ngibeka kuweke ukuthi yabona ke lo mfanekiso othulela enkantolo umayelana nomangalelo wesibini. Umfanekiso nje ongavela ufane nanoma ubani. Ngoba phela ke awuyikhethanga lo mfanekiso. Futhi ke awunazo izimpawu ezikhethile nanoma ubani ngaba yingxenye yalo mfanekiso wena ophana ngawo la enkantolo.
ya phela mina la enkantolo angizela nginanombani ngizingalo engibonayo mina ngikhuluma ngalo engimbonayo hayi nanombani
Now the fact of the matter is that I am not here for any other man or any other person that I see. There is a person in particular that had led me to come and testify in this court.
In fact, I put it to you that that description of a beard below the lower lip, an O-type beard around the mouth, height, and a hoodie wouldn't assist the police in locating the perpetrator. If you said to the police, go and look for this perpetrator,
Engikushoyo ke
three
ukuthi
descriptors.
lezo impawu ophane ngazo le ntshantshana kuyi okanye le eyayilana nalo intshebe yayenza olana emlomeni nokuthi ke ubefake ihudi ube mude angeke kwazi ukusiza amaphoyisa uma umuntu engathi ke nawu ke umfanekiso sengimnikezile hambani yofuna lowo muntu angeke kwazi ukusiza amaphoyisa.
ya but ikhona nje mina engimbona ngangikhona endlini mina engimbona yeka kumfana mina engimbonayo
I am available. Isn't it so that I'm the one that witnessed? I was in the house. I'm the one that saw him. So I am the one that saw him. And I'm here.
Now, before the intruders came into the house, you testified that you were watching or observing Kelly Kumalo narrating a story about different churches or whatever story she was narrating.
Usho kanjalo ukuthi angokuba ke lo umngene kangena endlini benilokunilaleleyo okanye limbuke lona uKelly loyikhuluma ke lezi ndaba ezikhuluma ezifake ngaphakathi amabandla kanjalo.
yebo kunjalo
Yes, it is indeed so.
Now, how far was the first suspect from you where you were seated when you first noticed him?
Ube kude kangani nawe ukusuka labo uhleli khona lo ungenele uqala mawumbona. Ukuqhathanisa nala wena buhleli ngapha. Ungasho ukuthi ngoba ngihleli la yena ube lapha yana wena ube lapha yana wena.
I think bekuindicate la isithombe because besivele isithombe ngasho ukuthi ngiyabe ngihleli kuphi umsolo uqala wangena wama kuphi.
Now, I think it was depicted in one of the pictures that I indicated that this is where I was seated at, and this is where the intruder came and stood at.
Yeah, but the picture doesn't show measurements of distance. They only depict the sofas and the hallway.
Uyabona ke isithombe as esinikezi nje ibanga okanye ke ama distance kanjalo.
Nama ngengikwazi ukukala ama distance. Na inkinga engaba ngizobheka ngengikwazi ukukala ama distance.
I also cannot measure distances.
Because le yandli
That's my
incane.
problem because that house is small.
Incane.
That house is small.
Now, the first suspect gets into the house and Kelly's narrating the story. Did the first suspect do anything to Kelly before she ran to the bedroom?
Lo oqala yangena uKelly lokuyakhuluma la endlini. Ngabe khona ukuthize ke akwenza kuKelly emva ukuthi uKelly abaleka engase egumbini lokulala.
Naya akukho.
No, there isn't anything that he did to her.
Now, according to your version, is that Longwe Twala, out of the blue, stands up, approaches the suspect with a firearm, pushes him away, and then goes out of the house, correct?
Ilokho kushoyo ukuthi nangu umsolo uphethe isibhamu uyasukuma uLongwe uya kuye uyamphusha ubese uyaphuma uLongwe ilokho kushoyo.
Angibonanga ngisho isukuma lokho kusukuma ngathi la uzosuka aqala bese yabali angibonanga ngisho isukuma ngendlela wasuka nje straight eyomphusha yena ngokukhulu ukushesha angibonanga ngisho iqala isukuma nje.
Now, I didn't even see or witness him at the time that he stood up. What I saw was that he just took off and stomped at him, pushed him away, and then he exited.
I get you that everything was happening super fast.
Ngithola ukuthi lokho kwenzeka ngokusheshsha okukhulu.
They made super fast.
Fast.
Yeah, ngokushesha.
Yes. I got a bit confused when you said super fast. Yes, fast, I agree.
And along the same idea, did you see where and how Longwe Twala pushed the first suspect?
Where in terms of the position?
Where on the body of the
Where on
second
the body?
suspect did Longwe push him?
Uke wabona nje uthe makamthinta emphusha wamthinta kuphi emzimbeni.
Ayanginakanga kwayilo ukuthi wamthinta kuphi kodwa ngikwazi wamphusha nje waseyaphuma.
I didn't take notice of that as to what particular part of the body did he actually come in contact with. All I know is that he just pushed him and then fled out.
I think lokhu sezosiphendulela yena meza la icourt.
I think it will now be up to him to come and explain to the court.
Yeah, but I'm asking your recollection. You were there observing the incidents as they happened.
Mina ke se ngiyazama ke ngiyayinusela la kuwe mayelana ke nokukhumbula kwakho wena umuntu okwazile ukubona ukuthi kwenzakalani.
Yes, uqinisile ngalapho but ngangengobserve yonke into ongazuthi ngihleli njengoba bese ngichazile kanye ngihlale ngibukele yonke into ongazuthi kumnandi.
Now you that is true that there are certain things that I may have observed. But bear in mind, I wasn't just relaxed, as though now I'm watching something that was happening in front of my eyes.
Because
one of the things that I was thinking of was, I should also exit the house.
And at the time, Longwe, like, let's forget about standing up. You seeing him pushing the first suspect. Was the first suspect still pointing the firearm at the people in the house?
Ngenkathi umbone ephusha lo ke ususpect oqala. Ngabe lo suspect oqala ube vele elogo ekhombe isibhamu kulabantu abebekhona endlini.
Yebo.
Yes.
And what did the second suspect do after being pushed by Longwe?
Wenzani ke emva kokuthi aphushe uLongwe? lo kunjani uqala suspect uqala.
Lo wesibini hayi lo wesibini.
Are we referring to the
remember,
lo
one way pushes him. What happens to him? Does he stumble? Does he fall? What happens to him?
uyathola shothi ke uyamphusha lo uqala lo ngiyampusha
Yes.
wenzakalani makampusha wenze njani
Akawa
uyawa or
ngaphansi.
no he didn't entirely fall. He didn't fall to the floor.
What happened to him?
Wenzakala
according to your
njani?
observation.
Still wayesamile but ukuthi wenza wayesamile kodwa azange awe like phansi.
He didn't fall to the floor. He was still standing.
And as Longwe is now has pushed this first suspect, where's the second suspect in relation to this incident of Longwe pushing the first suspect?
Ulonge nangusephushe lona uqala. Ukuphi ke lo wesibini?
I think wangasemnyango.
He was on the door side.
Umnyango lo wasekitchen wangasemnyango lo wasekitchen.
He was along or by the door of the kitchen.
Let's clarify the door, because if we refer to the door, it's been used, different ways here. Are you referring to the brown door, the actual door,
kitchen
where there's
door,
a
yes.
security gate? Are you referring to
I'm
that?
referring to the kitchen door.
Okay. And as Longwe is now, was he running? Was he walking out of the house?
Ulongwe
Did he leave the house?
ube kitchen ephuma endlini noma ube ehambela nje ephuma endlini.
Hayi wayekitchen.
He was running.
Kitchen.
Did the first or the second suspect try to restrain him from running away?
Ngabe lo wokuqala noma wesibini bazama ukumnqanda ukuthi angabaleki.
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi angingikwazi ukumbona lo wesibili if ngingasukumanga ngamala ngasekitchen la from where la ngikhona ngithi kunobonda awumboni umuntu lapho ubona lo seqhamukile kwena.
Now, as I've already indicated, that I wouldn't have been able to see the second suspect at the time because there is a wall that is between that kitchen area and as well as where I was. You can only see a person when he appears close to where I was at the time. So the second one, I couldn't see him.
So did the first suspect chase after Longwe?
Lo wokuqala ke wagijimisa uLongwe.
Hayi lo uthakaza mgijimisi.
No, he didn't chase after Longwe.
Now your testimony further is that once Longwe had pushed the first suspect away and ran out of the house, it gave the people in the house an opportunity to stand up from the sofas that they were sitting at, correct?
Yilokho kushilo ukuthi emva kokuthi lona uLongwe aphushe lo msolo wokuqala. Lokho kwanikeza abantu ababesendlini ithuba lokuthi nabo mabasukume baye kuyeke bayobhekana naye ngqo.
Yebo kunjalo.
That is indeed so.
And that is the start of what has been termed by previous witnesses here as a scuffle in the house. Right?
Kwaba uqala ke kwaleyo ngisho lo uqala ke oke omnye wofakazi oke weza wazala enkantolo khuluma ngendaba ukuthi kwaba nokudonsa donsana ke lapho okanye inqushushe ke yabakhona.
Yeah kunjalo.
That is indeed so.
And this scuffle starts from the sitting room area and ends up deep in the kitchen towards the door. In fact, actually at the door, correct?
Kuqala khona lapha yana ke ngase kitchen ukufika ngale emnyango wase kitchen.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Now, earlier on and even yesterday, you stated that Senzo Meyiwa was now pinning the second suspect against the wall, holding the second suspect's arm with his two hands. That is Senzo's two hands, correct?
Ilokho kushilo ukuthi naku ke usebamba lona owesibini uyambamba ke wase umbeka nje khona lapha emphushela embambela edongweni esebenzisa izandla zakhe ezithu ebambe nje ingalo yakhe yodwa.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so, yes.
And your testimony is that your crutches were used, but in particular, you vividly remember Zandi Kumalo hitting, was it the second suspect with a crutch. Was that your evidence?
Uyakhumbula ngendlela egqamile mayelana ke nama crashes wakho uthi lona uZandi Khumalo washaya muphi ke umsolo owokuqala noma owesibili ngecrash?
Mina ngikhumbulelwa nalokuqala lokuyena wayenza ama-threat.
I remember her fighting with the first one, the one that had dreadlocks.
Yes, understand that. But the one that she actually hit with a crutch, which one was that between the first and the second suspect?
Lo amshaya ngale crash omuphi owokuqala noma owesibili ngikhumbula.
Ngiyasho ukuthi ubekalwa nalo bebeshaya lo wama-threat lokuqala.
I am saying that he was she was fighting, or they were fighting with the first one that was having dreadlocks.
Now, on that aspect, Zandi Khumalo testified in court as follows, that she then went and fetched a crutch from next to the heater where the crutches were.
Ukushilo kanjalo uZandi ukuthi wahamba wathatha icrash eyayiseduze neheater laphayana, uyavuma?
Ya ama-crutches ayetayila emondeni nje liseduze ne-heater.
Yes, I agree. I concur with that. The crutches were just leaning against the wall, close to where the heater was.
And that she came into the kitchen to join the fight in order to hit the second suspect with that crutch.
Waya ke ngasekitchen yoba ingxenye yale impi yayenzeka khona lapha ekitchen uthi ashaye lo msolo lona ke ngecrash.
I-statement sakhe leso, but mina njengoba ngisho basukuma kuqala kunami. Njengoba basukuma uyena uma wakhe no-Kelly basukuma kuqala kunami.
That would be her version.
And her version,
like I have already said, that they were the very first people to stand up, and they accosted this person. It was herself, that is Zandi Khumalo, Kelly Khumalo, and Mrs. Khumalo Senior, or their mother.
And further she testified that because of her stature being short and tiny, and there were people in front of her, she couldn't actually hit the second suspect. That's when you took the crutch from her and hit the suspect, the second suspect on the head with that crutch.
Thina ngenxa ukuthi ke beke mfishane umzimba omncanyana nje nayo wayengakhoni ke ukushaya lo msolo lo. Wena ke wasuthatha icrash kuyena washaya umsolo lo wesibili.
Ngiyakuzwa but angikhumbuli ngisebenzisa i-crash mina. According to statement sakhe asibhalile angeke mina ngisishintshe esakhe but angizikhumbuli nje ngithatha i-crash mina.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Well, I do not remember taking a crash and hitting this person with it.
Ngamshaya ngenqindi mina lo.
I hit him with a punch. Or a clenched fist. I do not remember taking that would actually be her evidence. But I cannot change her evidence. I cannot change her statement.
Your evidence is that you then hit the second suspect with a fist, correct?
Wamshaya ngenqindi lo wesibili. That's correct.
When did that happen in the context of the scuffle that was happening in the kitchen?
Lokho kwenzeka nini? Maqondana ke nalokho okwakwenzeka khona lapha ekitchen.
Ngalesikhathi usenza mbambele ngala.
At that time that Senzo had pinned him against the wall.
Ngalesikhathi ngithi ngiyaphumila ngabona khona usenze mbambele lesile ngashaya khona ngasaphuma ngomnyango.
Now it was at the time that I had purposed to exit the house, and when I saw Senzo pinning him like that against the wall, that's when I decided, no, I'm no longer exiting the house. I then unleashed a punch against him.
Now, did the first and the second suspects fight back or retaliate as they were being assaulted by the people from the house?
Basithuse ngako or benze lento abayini because sathi masiqhuma isibhamu ngabaleka mina ngawungena ekamereni.
I think the gunshot that was discharged could have been their attempt to disperse us or to ward us off, because after that, that's when I ran to go and hide myself, to hide myself in the bedroom.
Now, Mthokozisi Twala testified in this court that he was not part of the scuffle because he was protecting Christian from being harmed. So he watched the scuffle from his vantage point at the entrance passageway of the kitchen inside. What role did he play, if at all, Mthokozisi Twala, in the scuffle?
Umthokozisi ke uthi yena iqhaza alibamba laphayana ukuthi makavikele uChristian. Kanti ke beke ngekho kangako laphayana ku lokhu donsisana lapho okanye ukulisana okwakhona laphayana. Uthini ke wena ngendlela owabona ngakhona ube kuphi ke Umthokozisi mayelana ke nalokho kwakwenzeka khona laphana kuleyo passage kuya ngasekitchen.
Umthokozisi uqinisile Umthokozisi asimuntu othanda ukulala ngiyasoza kuthiwa ulile onjani. So
he's telling the truth. He's not the kind of a person that likes getting involved in fights.
Ubengekho la kwenzeka yonke lento so nje bengemuva angazi ukuthi wayenzani nje bethi ayizamprotect uChristian because Christian naye wayeleke yaluza la.
He was not the part of that commotion that was happening there. He was just behind. I think he was indeed trying to protect Christian. I don't know what Christian was doing there, but he was trying to protect him.
And what role did Kelly Kumalo play in the scuffle?
Khona lapho kuleso scuffle uKelly yena ke ubambe luphi iqhaza lapho?
Angeke ngasho lo ngicamba uzoyizela naye lo azoyichazela la ecourt lo angeke ngasho wabamba yiphi part.
I don't know what part did he take or how did she participate in that scuffle. She will come and present her own evidence before this honorable court.
And your testimony is that after the first gunshot, you ran to a second bedroom, that is the one next to the one where Kelly ran, and then you closed the door behind you, correct?
Usho kanjalo emva ukuthi isibhamu usiqume kanye okokuqala wasuyagijima ke wena wangena kulela gumbi lesibili lokulala wafika wayivalela ngakhona ilokho kushilo.
Yebo.
Yes, that is what I said.
And if I understood your testimony correctly yesterday, is that it is the very same room where Kelly's daughter Tingo was also sleeping at the time, correct?
Uma ngabe ngizwe kahle izolo umuntu uthula ubufakazi bakho yilelo gumbi ke la kwakulele khona ke indodakazi kaKelly uTingo.
100% correct.
100% correct.
And furthermore, that when you entered that room, you found that she was awake, probably woken up by the commotion and the noise in the house, correct?
Uthi ke wena musufika ngalapha kulelo gumbi wase umthola sekevukile waqama ukuthi ingenxa yalokho kwakwenzeka la endlini umsindo yabona.
Yebo kunjalo.
It is indeed so, yes.
And that when you ran to that room, you also took your phone with because you wanted to hide, or you hid your phone beneath the blankets that were in that room, correct?
No, ukuthi ke ungena kulelo gumbi uphethe cellphone yakho wayifihla ke ngaphansi kwalezo ingubo ezazisitekiwe njengala.
Kunjalo.
It is indeed so.
Now, why didn't you call for help from your cell phone, because you were now behind a locked room in the house at that stage? Why didn't you call for help, because a gunshot has just been fired in the house?
Ingani ke ungazange wazama ukuthola usizo wena uphethe cellphone kanti ke ungakulela gumbi uzivalele ngakhona sekube nekuxhuma kwesibhamu khona la endlini ingani ungazange wazama ukuthola usizo?
Angazi mithi ngazama ukuthola usizo kwakuyi first time ngiyakulowa muzi and angazi umuntu lapha abantu engibazi babe la endlini ngizolicela kubani usizo ngicela ngicacisele lapha ukuthi ngizolicela kubani usizo.
I don't know how was I going to be in the position to seek for help. That was my first time going to that house. I don't know any person in that vicinity. The only people that I knew were inside of the same house in which I was. Perhaps you can try and clarify that for me.
Calling for help by dialing toll-free 10-111.
Mhlambe ke ukufona la 10-111.
Angazi ngayidala leyo number mina empilweni yami nje. Angazi ngayidala nokuthi ke if ukulesa simo yabona makwaba senkingeni awufani umuntu ongakazi abe enkingeni umuntu ongazi abe enkingeni kulula ukukhuluma ukuthi awenzanga ngani kanje so kulesa sikhathi ngangikwenza ngaphansi kwesinye isimo hayi lesi esinjengalesi.
Now I've never used that number before, and the circumstance that I found myself under, it was an unusual circumstance, and as a result I couldn't even think of it, of doing whatever that is expected of me. You know, a person who has never been in a predicament, it would be easy for them to say that, why couldn't you do that, than a person who is in a predicament. So in other words, a person that is in a predicament experiences the challenge differently than that one that was never in a predicament.
Now, having listened attentively to your testimony and about the robbery incident, the ineptitude and the lack of preparation by the alleged suspects, I'm led to believe that we are dealing with one of Mzansi's dumbest criminals. Would you agree?
Uyabona ke uma sesibheke ngendlela abebengayilungiselela ngakhona indlela abayephethe ngakhona sengikhuluma ngabo labo bantu abangena laphana endlini ushuthi ke mase sibuka leso sithombe isiyabona nathi la eMzansi asibhekene negebengu ezidomo kabi
mawusigebengu ngifile uziyofunda ugebengu ngabe isigebengu ufundile mawusigebengu ungafundanga so ucabanga ugebengu akufani.
You don't have to go to school to be a criminal. You can be a criminal that hasn't gone to school. You can also be a criminal that is well versed.
You see, the reason I'm asking you is for the following propositions. According to your testimony, this is an armed robbery for money and phones. Yet people in the house, one, Zandile Kumalo testified that the minute that demand was made, she hid the phone beneath the cushion where she was sitting.
Yabona enye iyizathu enza ukuthi mhlawumbe ukuthi ngikhulume ngale ndlela ukuthi uZandile ukhulumile lokho uthi makezwa nje ukuthi manje kufuneka ama cellphone wase ufihla i-cellphone ngaphansi kwekhishini la ebehleli khona kungukuthi bakhona labantu la endlini.
Yeah, but angeke ngakhuluma kakhulu ngoZandile Mr. Mspel because statement sakhe leso official nami endlini angeke ngibuke wonke umuntu uthi wenzani umuntu seseyinakela ngaleso sikhathi.
Now I cannot speak on behalf of Zandile. That's her statement, Advocate Ramusipile. And mind you, I also am inside of the house. I cannot be monitoring every move that is done by every person who's inside of the house.
And two, Makumalo's phone is charging right at the kitchen on top of a stove somewhere.
Always be. Na iphone kaMakumalo phezu kwestove eduze nestove laphayana iyachargewa khona lapho.
But the intruders don't take it.
Kodwa labangeneleli abayithathi leyo cellphone.
Angeke ngachaza ke lo ngifuna ukuchaza ukungena kuloko ngoba akubhalwanga yimina so bengingajabula umbuzo yakho mayingaqonda exactly entweni ibhalwe yini so le bhalwe umunye umuntu uzozizela ine court ayichazeleni ukuthi usho ukuthi babe ngenza kanjani into kanje yabo.
Well, I cannot be explicit on that one. This is something that was not narrated by myself. It is not something that was not written by me. I would really appreciate if the questions were really have to do with myself, what I observed or witnessed. I can't say anything pertaining to what I said. For your information, my phone was in my possession.
And three, Longwe Twala, who possibly has got a phone or cash on him, is also allowed to leave the house without being searched for sale.
Okunye futhi nangu lo. Unemali kuyena kuyakhonakala. Futhi une cellphone bayamvumela nje ukuthi aphume.
Ubani othwele imali lo?
Who says that Longe was in possession of the cash?
And four, the intruders do not even search the people in the house for money and cell phones.
Okwesine, labantu abangena endlini ababaseshi labantu abasendlini. Babaseshe ukuthi bafuna ama cellphone nemali kubo ababaseshi inhlobo.
I think most of session umuntu kufanele ube nendlela ozomlalisa ngayo or umise ngendlela ozomisa ngayo. So sasingeke ukuphusha ukuthi asibanjise udongora sasilaliswe phansi.
No,
So
I-
babezosesha kanjani?
How were they going to search us? I think that if you have to search a person, you must position them in a conducive, position that would allow you to can be able to search them. Perhaps you can even tell them, lie down or stand against the wall. So all of us were not instructed to do that.
And lastly, the intruders, one of them armed with a firearm, are assaulted by people in the house who are barely armed, crutches and spoons and fists, but they do nothing to retaliate and
Nakho kunye okokugcina.
Is that correct? They do nothing. The
Okay.
evidence I'm listening to is that a firearm went off and Senzo apparently got injured and subsequently died.
Okay, let's leave that one. Let me draw that one.
Uyayilombuzo nje kancane bethu uyabuza.
Now you've testified and I've listened to you, said you were scared when the intruders entered and the suspect pointed or wielded or brandished the firearm in the house, correct?
Ukushilo lokho ke uthi lona intruder mangena endlini ubuthukile. Ngoba phela ungene wakhipha isibhamu. Kunjalo?
Yebo kunjani.
It is so.
Now, by your estimation, and give me the best, your educated guess, from the moment the suspects arrived, the scuffling, the shooting, and the suspects leaving, the entire incident, how long did it last?
Leso
According
sigameko
to your
sonke.
estimation.
Uma ngabe mhlambe wena ke ungaba nalolo lwazi. Mhlambe ngendlela ongakhona ke ukusho. Ukusuka lesikhathi bengena kuba nokulwisana. Kuqhuma isibhamu. Begcina sebephumile ke endlini. Lokho kwathatha isikhathi esingakanani?
Akubanga isikhathi eside.
It wasn't a
Akubanga
long
isikhathi
time.
eside.
It wasn't a long time.
Noma ngisho nje ukuthi akubanga more than 10 minutes ngisho kanjalo.
I would estimate that it was not more than 10 minutes.
Now, and I'm not saying that you are wrong, but by his estimation, Thokozi Sitwala
Yes.
estimated that the entire incident lasted about 5 minutes. Would that be the same region?
Manje usho njalo ke umthokozisi uthi lesi sigameko sonke sathatha imizuzu engaba 05.
Angeke ngakuphikisa ukusho umthozi sithwala ngeke futhi ngiphawule kakhulu ngakho njengoba nami ngisho ukuthi akubanga more than 10 minutes so angikho kuyona exactly leyo isikhathi ngicabangela sona nami.
Now, as I've already indicated that the 10 minutes that I am referring to could just be an estimated time. What Mthokozisi is saying, I cannot dispute it. It may as well have been 5 minutes, and I don't want to remark on what he had said. My estimation could be about 10 minutes, or perhaps even just around there. Even that 10 minutes, I'm uncertain of it.
Now, yesterday when you testified, you stated that you and the second suspect, whom you now identify as accused number 2, were very close to each other during the transpiration of the events of the night of the 26th of October 2014, correct?
Izolo kushilo lokho ukuthi nayithola nje nibhekene nje niseduze omunye komunye ngalelo suku lange 26 October 2014 ukusho kanjalo izolo ngisho. Yes, that's what I said.
And he was wearing a hoodie all along through this incident transpiring, correct?
Thike makwenzeka lesigameko ubele wefake leyo hoodie.
Ya wayifakile ukuthi kodwa ngendlela ekwakubanjwana ngayo yayisigungile nayo ukuthi.
The scuffling was taking place. It had already had uncovered the head.
That's a new fact that you are adding here. You've never said that in your evidence in chief.
Ubufakazi obusha ke lo. Ukuthi ke yasesusukile ekhanda. Ubufakazi obusha.
Shutha ukhumbula kahle mthela mfenge ngangayisho nalento phambilini I think ngangibuza uadvocate Mcholo. Ngayingayisho lento futhi wena ungakhumbuli kahle.
It means you are the one that is not recalling Because there was a stage where Advocate Mshololo asked me that same question. Yes.
Let's be clear. If you look here, this is not Judge Maumela. These are new proceedings. All of those proceedings legally are nullified. So whatever you said there doesn't apply here.
Yeah,
I was not even there back then. There were other advocates that were here.
I guess ibheke kahle. Yabona ngoba sila kule nkantolo akusena uJudge Maumela lo ohleli lapha yana. Yabona? Inqobe eyenzeka phambili. Yabona ke.
Mr. Ramusbere ngimdala mangaka. Ngiyayibona yonke into la iCourt. There's no need ukuthi umchazele.
No,
ngizama ukuklarify la ukuthi uthi angikaze ukusha. Ngayingakusho before ukusha mina mengayingakusho before. Ngangithola yini.
Look, I'm adult enough. I can observe, I can see what is happening in this court. I know what is it that I had said previously. And that is what I had said previously.
I understand that you are old, but also this is part of, you are not a legal person. I was explaining to you, I'm not undermining you. I told you I don't do that.
Futhi ke ngiyazwisisa ukuthi awusiyena umuntu owazi ke indlela umthetho usebenza ngakhona. Bengizama ukucacisela nje ukuthi umthetho mayelana nalenqubo usebenze kanjani.
Ngiyakuzwa lapho nane case ngiyazi ukuthi ishintshiwe ujaji and ujaji wathi liqala phansi ngikusasebenza into endala. Yena ngisho ngakusho before because uthi angikaze ngikusho ukuthi kunyu futhi into engekho kumina ngingazi.
Yeah, no, it was explained to me that the previous proceedings were nullified. And I am just merely answering you based on the fact that you have said that it is new, and based on that, I'm now saying that it is not new, because this particular point, it's what I had said previously. I made mention of that previously.
Now, did you have an opportunity to look into the face of the second suspect there at the scene?
Uye wathola ithuba lokuthi ubone ubuso balo msolwa wesibili khona lapha yana endaweni esikhandeni waba nalelo thuba lokubona ubuso umsolwa wesibili.
Lo mbuzo angazi ukuthi ngizophendula ngokuthini. Ngeke ngikwazi ukukhomba umuntu ngithi nangu ngiphinde ngingamukuthi ngimbona ngimkhomba kanjani ngambona.
I don't know how to actually answer that particular question. I cannot just at random point at a person and say this is the one when I didn't see that particular person at the scene of the incident. How can I do that?
You can do that because the only thing that you saw on his face was his mouth and beard.
Ungakwenza lokho ngoba yini nje into oye wayibona lapha ebusweni bakhe umlomo namadevu wakhe okanye mustache yakhe.
Controller wena ngicela ukubuza wena controller wena ushaya umuntu angithi uyazi ukuthi umshaya la or umshaya la so uzomshaya kanjani ebusweni ngambukanga.
Now if you have to be in control of what you are doing yourself and now you have to launch a punch against a person or hit a person at a particular point in their body, how can you hit a person on the face when you are not looking at them as, or aiming at their face to unleash a blow against their face? It could be on the face, it could perhaps be on the abdomen, but how could you just unleash without looking at a particular person?
My Lord, I see it's approaching 11:20.
Okay. So just elaborate.
I cannot explain that. Because after I was interviewed by this police officer, then came this clergyman or the reverend that arrived there, and he took me into the bedroom, and I couldn't therefore continue to be observant of what was happening with the rest of the people that were inside of the house.
Yes, what I'm trying to get is that we know for sure that the one person that did not come back was Mtokozi Sitwala, because he went and stayed at the hospital, correct?
Siyakwazi ukuthi umuntu ongazange wabuya umthokozi Sithwala ngoba yena ke wasala khona lapha esibhedlela.
Oh yeah. Azangabuyi masiphume esibhedlela.
Yes. When we came back from the hospital, he didn't come with us.
And then you, Zandile Kumalo, Kelly Kumalo, Makumalo, and Longwe Twala, did you return to the scene from hospital?
Wena uZandile Kumalo, uKelly Kumalo, uMakumalo, noLongwe Twala. Niye naphindele khona lapha endlini la isigameko senzeke khona.
Okwalonga awulonga ngikhumbuli ngimbona. That is why ngingafuni ukuthi angikhumbuli ngimbona, because mangibuya mina ngabuya nomunye umama nje nganoma umakhelwane, so laba abanye ba travela ngayo imoto le yasenzo.
I did not see Longwe. I wouldn't want to remark or to give my remark pertaining Longwe, because upon I returned to the house, I didn't see him. I came back with a lady. I should think that she may have been a neighbor there, but I had embarked in a vehicle, and the rest of the people, they were in a different mode of transport as well.
Okay, let's remove Longwe because you can't recall him being back.
Asemkhipha.
So, the point that I'm trying to get from you is this. When you were interviewed, were Zandile Kumalo, Kelly Kumalo, Makumalo also present in that room when you were interviewed by the police officer?
Ngenkathi ke wena ubuza imibuzo ngakulelo gumbi mhlawumbe okanye kuleyo ndawo o ingxenye leyo ndlu ngabe uZandile uKelly noMakumalo bebe khona lapho ngenkathi wena ubuza imibuzo amaphoyisa okanye iphoyisa?
Yebo, babekhona no dog segcina amaphoyisa abanye ngoba nami le statement ngasenza ngimenge inyawo emile nayo lo phoyisa leli ngithetha so.
Yes,
babekhona.
They were there because even myself at the time that I was finishing the statement to the police, I was standing, because there were now numerous police officers that had already then came into the house.
So let me get this straight. So individually, you were interviewed by a separate police officer, Zandile is separate police officer, and the like with Makumalo and Kelly Kumalo at the same time.
Ake ngicacele khona la. Wena ke wabuza imibuzo phoyisa elthize, and then elinye phoyisa labuza uZandi imibuzo. uMakumalo wabuzwa imibuzo elinye phoyisa. Ilokho kusho?
Angisho kanjalo. Angisho nje ngithi angibonanga bona ba interview ubani mapha amaphoyisa exactly.
No, that is not what I am saying. Like I have said, that I did not witness them being interviewed by the police officers, or which police officers interviewed them.
And do you recall if that police officer who was interviewing you was taking notes for the purposes of recording that interview with you?
Uyakhumbula yini ukuthi ngoba lokukhuluma yena ke obeloko eloba nje phansi?
Yebo.
Yes, I remember that. It was being reduced into writing.
And I believe yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, Chico Twala.
Kwamele ke ukuthi manje nim
says he was only information that she wants to take Ms. Kumalo out on a holiday.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, Doc identified, that is, you identified accused number 2 for the first time here in court in your testimony. We are not talking about the previous time, we are only talking about these proceedings here.
Wamkhomba ke lo mangalelo wesibili khona la enkantolo. Asakhulumi ke ngenkathi uyingxenye yenqubelo yokuqala. Sisho khona manje nje.
Yes.
Wamkhomba khona la enkantolo.
Yebo ngikhomba.
That is correct. I identified accused person number 2.
And from my understanding, the crux of your dog identification is that once you've seen a face, it's not easy to forget it, and also because of the beard, the height, and the hoodie, correct?
Okushoyo ukuthi mawuke wabona ubuso nokuthi ke impawu ezibonile nje ngamadevu lawo nobude bakhe lokho kwenza ke ukuthi kungabi lula ukuthi umkhohle ukwazile ukuthi umkhombe nje la enkantolo elokho kushilo.
Yebo.
That is correct.
Now, you have never previously identified accused number 2 at any ID parade or photographic lineup before, correct?
Umangalelo wesibili awukaze umkhombe nanoma ikuphi ngaphandle kwenkantolo nje lana mhlambe ke sithi bamile nje emgcini kuthiwa ke khomba ke azange umkhombe phakathi umangalelo wesibili umkhombe nje la enkantolo kuphela.
Yebo kunjalo because akaze vele ngibizwe kwi-ID parade ekhona vele.
That is indeed correct. Because I was never rather called to an identification parade where accused number 2 was a part of that lineup.
In fact, for my clients, I may even extend your statement to say that you've never also attended an ID parade where accused number 1 was present as well, correct?
No, ukuthi awuzange uye kwikhomba parade la umangalelwa wokuqala ebekhona. Asakhuluma ngomangalelo wesibili manje sikhuluma ngomangalelo wokuqala.
Yes.
Yes. Uthi yebo.
And accused number 2 was arrested in June 16, 2020. Did the police come and tell you that they've arrested suspects in this matter?
Mangalelo wesibili waboshwa nge-16 June 2020. Ngabe amaphoyisa eza ke ezobika ukuthi sekhona uboshiwe okanye khona baboshiwe kuleli qala?
Ya ngiyakwazi lokuthi khona ababoshwa ngakuzwa lokho yes.
Yes, I heard about that there are of those suspects that were apprehended.
Now, when did you first see photos or images of the second accused after his arrest in 2020?
Wabona nini ke izithombe zikamangalelo wesibili mawuqala ukuyibona izithombe zikamangalelo wesibili emva kokuthi yena aboshwe ngo-2020 wayibona nini izithombe zakhe?
Angazi ukukhuluma ngaziphi izithombe usho ziphi izithombe ukuthi ngazibona.
I don't know which photographs are you referring to. Would you say that I had seen or which I saw? Which photographs in particular?
Let me say perhaps from mass media, internet, or social media.
We mass media, we internet, mhlambe kule inkundla zokuxhumana.
Ya ngangazibona ephepheni.
I once saw them in a newspaper.
And would you recall when was that? Just about a rough estimation, 2020, 2021?
Ngakhumbula kwaba nini mawubona lokho lezo ithombe? Kwaba ngo-2020 noma nini?
Ayi noma ngasakhumbula unyaka kodwa Senzo Meyiwa okwafika ekhaya ephethe iphepha nje la bantu laba ababushiwe befake ama-mask nala ngathi indwangu nje wangibuza ukuthi ubani wadula uSenzo.
No, I may not necessarily remember clearly the time or which year in particular, but I remember there was a stage where Sfiso came having a piece of a paper that was depicting the pictures of the people or the suspects, and they were wearing some form of masks in that picture. It was detailing them as wearing masks.
And when the accused number 2 was arrested in 2020, and after having knowledge that there are people that are arrested and seeing the picture, like you're saying in the newspaper, did you then go to the police to say, I can now recognize accused number 2 as the first intruder that I saw in the house on the 26th of October 2014.
Useboshiwe manje ngo-2020 kanti-ke sekukhona-ke ukuthi ilokho njani zabo zikhona laphana iy'thombe zabo zikhona emaphepheni usuyakwazi lokho ukuthi uboshiwe uye waya yini emaphoyiseni ukuthi manje sengingamkhomba lona umangalelwa wesibini nje ngomuntu owangena aqala laphana endlini
angikhumbuli bevela bengafaka ngama-mask emaphepheni mostly bebevela befaka ama-mask isanda kwenzeka isanda kuboshwa ngasho kanjalo bebefaka ama-mask.
I do not remember them appearing in the papers without masks. When they appeared in the papers after they were arrested, their masks were on, so they were wearing masks.
If I may ask you, did you subsequently, after the newspaper article that was shown by the deceased brother, did you then see further photos of the accused without masks on after the COVID pandemic?
Emva kokuthi-ke ubhuti kaMufi akubonise iy'thombe zabo labo balisa ephepheni bafaka ama-masks. Ngabe kwaba nethuba yini la uke wabona iy'thombe zabo bengafakile ama-mask emva kokuthi i-COVID mhlambe isindlulile?
Ngikhumbuli.
No, I do not remember.
Now, if I may refer you to a statement that you made, which is A2210, is it 216? 216. This is not clear. Manat, is a statement that was discovered to us. It was taken on the 5th of November 2020 at 1918 by, who took this, Mr. Mix? Okay, it was taken by Colonel Gininda. He was colonel by then, but I think now he's a brigadier. Do you have that document in front of you?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay. Now, the document in front of you, do you know who Colonel Gininda is?
Yeah, Colonel Gininda
now is?
Brigadier Gininda manje. Kodwa ngaleso sikhathi ke beku Colonel Gininda.
Yeah.
Yes, I know Brigadier Gininda.
And to recollect your memory, like I said, the statement is 5 November 2020 at 1918. It's here in Pretoria. And when this statement was made, did you and the person that made this statement speak the same language?
Should wena nalomuntu ke obe ubumnikeza lesi statement ben khuluma ke ulimo olulodwa ngoba I statement siphane ngaso nge5 November 2020
ulimo olulodwa yini kanjani language?
Yes.
Sikhuluma isiZulu.
Yes.
Yeah, sikhuluma isiZulu.
And
yes,
then,
we were conversant in Zulu.
how was the statement made where you as I see, it's Colonel Gininda's handwriting, so he was asking you questions and you narrated the answer back to him and he wrote it down, correct?
Ubekubuza imibuzo bese ke wena ke uyaphendula abhale phansi yena. Bekunjalo?
Ngiyacabanga because isayinwe mina ngiyacabanga impela.
I think it was like that because I'm the one that had signed the statement. It may have been like that.
Manje sifundeki isi handwriting yala.
I'll try to read it because I just want to read that only the second paragraph of thereof, but I just want to make sure that, like you say, having been satisfied with the document, you then signed it and you say you see your signature on
Oh yeah,
the
sure.
document, correct?
Emva uthi ke wanelise ilokho kuqhubethe lesi statement was uyasignela. Ubonisa ukuthi wanelisekile.
Yeah, must sign with me like shooting ngasenza ngayenza yes.
Then let me try to,
If it was signed by myself, it means I'm the one that finished that statement.
if I may read it then to you, paragraph 2 thereof.
Let's beg a paragraph 2.
It says, the colonel asked me if I will be able to identify any of the suspects I saw when the offense took place in October 2014. I informed the colonel first. What? This incident took place a long time ago, and I'm not sure if I will be able to identify them again. I indicated to him that I am not sure, and in brackets it says 50-50. You see that?
Uyakubona lokho ke obhalwe lana ukuthi uKenneth ke wase uyangibuza ukuthi uma kungenzeka ke ukuthi okanye ke wangibuza ukuthi ngakhona yini ukuthi ngibakhombe labantu kanye labasola uma kungenzeka ukuthi ngibabone abenzeke lobugebengu khona ke ngaleso sikhathi ngo-October 2014 ngase ngiyamtshela ke uKenneth ukuthi lesi sigameko senzeke esikhathini esiningi esendlule angikho ke sesimeni sokuthi mhlambe ngakhona ukuthi ngiphinde ngibakhombe futhi ngase ke ngiyamtshela nokuthi anginaso isiqiniseko kuvelela ke u50-50 lapho ke kuma brackets yakubona
Kumele ndo 50-50.
What does that 50-50 represent? Yes, I see the
50-50.
I don't remember saying 50-50.
It is there, and you appended your signature to the document.
Sorry?
I beg yours?
I mean, it's written there. I didn't manufacture that. It's in the document, and you signed the document.
Ibhaliwe nje yona leyo nto leyo akusiyi mina ke wabhala leyo document kanti wena ke uye wayisayina leyo document.
All right, akulungile ke qhubeke because
Okay, it's fine.
akana impendulo ukuthi umele ngisho naye akawazi.
You can proceed because you don't have the answer as to what does that 50-50 represent. So you can proceed.
Yes, but the essence of the statement that I've just read to you is that in 2020, you informed Colonel Geninda that you perhaps may not be able to identify the suspects that you saw because the incident happened a long time ago, correct?
Ileyo nto ke engicile kuyo lena ukuthi
I'm sure
I
naso
cannot identify them. I just said that I am not sure
If ngisazokwazi
if I will be able to. Not that I cannot.
yes. Because basikudlula isikhathi eside mos.
Because there had been a long time that had passed after the incident transpired.
Okay, let me read that again, especially the part that says, and I read, I informed the colonel first. These incidents took place long time ago, and I am not sure if I will be able to identify them again.
Ilokho kushoyo ke. Ukuthi lesi sigameko ngatshela uKenneth ukuthi lesi sigameko senzeka esikhathini esiningi esendlule kanye kudala. Ngoba lokho ke anginaso ke isiqiniseko sokuthi ngakwazi yini ukuthi ngibakhombe futhi. Yes.
Yeah, kunje kubusho nje.
It is indeed as you say.
Well, what does it mean? Explain it to me.
Oh, I'll show. Ngayicacisa kumina.
Bhala kanje.
Today and yesterday, and you are adamant that accused number 2 is the person that you saw as intruder number 2 in the house.
Manje into engishoyo la ukuthi lana kwi-statement 50-50 ngamanye amazwi awunaso isiqiniseko esiphelele kodwa ke uyafika la enkantolo izolo uyamkhomba nommangalelo wesibili uvele ke unesiqiniseko sokuthi uyena ke umsolo wesibili wangena lapha endlini ilokho engisho.
Okokuqala nje ngingakusho since ngiza la ecourt ngimbona kwabuya lokho ngambona ukuthi uyena lo and ngisazomkhomba even ngaphela 20 years noma ngaphela cause ngiyambona mina.
This is one thing that I want to make it clear. Since I came to court and I saw him, I could recognize him. Even after 20 years, I can still point him out.
So masesibuyela kule state
We've never even previously given any specific general features of the person, like I'm saying, you only gave the beard, the height, and the hoodie. So there's no standard to judge this identification of yours here in court today against a previous identification.
Yabana lokho kushoyo namhlanje nje ukuthi wena uthi make wabona ubuso ngeke usabukhohlwa. Kodwa ke awukho umgomo esingasebenzela phezukwawo wokuthi ngempela ukwazile yini ukukhomba ubuso uyibona ngeempawu. Usho ukuthi mhlawumbe khona iimpawu ezithize ezikhethile ezenza ke ukuthi